Hello, welcome back to my channel, Divine Libra Wisdom. It's been a minute, but I'm back again with a pick-a-pile reading. Setup is a little bit different because I just moved into a new place now. So moved again, of course. But anyway, so the setup is a little different. I'm still kind of getting my bearings with that. But once I have it the way I want it, it'll set up look a bit better. So you won't be able to really just see the cards how I would normally do it or whatever, but it's all good. Either way, we're gonna make it work. But I thought that I would jump on here and do a pick a pile because I hadn't done one in a while, and I said that I would, especially since I kind of changed up how I do my readings. But yeah, so I will have readings for all the elements, or for the 4 elements, for the month for this month of August. I know we're kind of well into August, but better late than never. But just it's been a lot going on for me. So yeah. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get into my disclaimers and things that I want to lay out there. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are returning to the channel, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for rocking with me. Hopefully once things are settled, I will be back on a much more, what am I trying to say? Consistent schedule. So yeah. But yeah, nonetheless, whether you're new or returning, I thank you so much. As you listen along through the video, make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're leaving a comment if you feel, drawn to, or you can just leave a cute, emoji down there just to let me know that you're still listening. Share the video out. If you know those who like pick-a-pile readings as well as tarot, oracle, that type of thing. Yeah. And what was I going to say? I believe that was it. Or no. What else? Yeah, subscribe. Do all the things. Sorry, it's been a minute since I've done this. But anyway, yeah, do all the things. Yeah, do all the things. I believe I also have to do my readings for the month for Libra, Libra, Cancer, and Taurus. Lord, has it been that long? I feel like it haven't even been that long since I did my last videos, but whatever. It's just been a lot trying to get my bearings and get things situated again. But anyway, yeah, subscribe to the channel, do all the things. I will never reach out or solicit anybody to do readings for them, so you have to contact me if that's what you would like to do. I am open to taking booking readings. So if you want to do a reading, you can hit me up via the email. It will be in the description box below, as well as the decks that I'm using. They will be in the description box as well. If you have any comments or questions that you want to ask me, you can also do that as well, or just ask me in the comments section. Okay. What else? As far as noise is concerned, it is a little bit louder over here than where I was. So, you may hear some noise here and there. So if you do, as I'm going through the reading, I will pause or stop or whatever and just pick back up where I left off. All right. Yeah. So if I forgot to mention anything, just, charge it to forgetting and just, put that in place of what I would usually say. Anyway, so you have 3 piles here, and you can choose from pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, or you can choose all of them, or whichever, whatever you feel drawn to, call to. You don't have to, put a lot of thought into, what you're drawn to. Just go with your first gut, go with your first mind. Okay? Yeah. Everything doesn't have to fit for you. If it doesn't resonate, then just let it fly. Just leave what does. Yeah, this, a pick-a-pile reading is not going to determine your fate. You determine your fate. So this is just for confirmation, just for, things, just for you to know more about what you already know. Just to confirm that. Okay? So I'm a little rusty with this opening, of course, and I'm kind of going, I don't want it to get too long. But yeah. So, like I said, should have chosen from pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3. Whichever you're drawn to, go with that. So, we're going to go ahead and get into pile 1. See, I'm just kind of looking at the time thing. I'm going to lay these all out and see what we got here. And of course I will put I will show the cards in the camera. Of course it'll be backwards, but yeah. All right. Just give me a minute to look at this spread here. Just see what we got going on for pile number 1. Okay, pile number 1. So right off the bat, I'm getting, some of you maybe in my same shoes as far as, having to move, or you're preparing for a move of some sort. Because you have the card move down here, so yeah. Some of my pile 1s, some of you may be getting ready to move, or you're in the process of doing so. But let's go through all the cards. Let's start with the first card here. So the first card you have out is Ace of Earth. And it says the inflow of abundance, a promising new business venture, important documents or contracts. And that's how it looks. Like I said, of course, the camera is backwards, so yeah. I haven't quite figured out how to change the orientation of that, but I will try to figure that out soon. But until then, yeah, push it up a little bit so you can kind of see it a bit better. Okay. So with this, what this tells me and why moving feels like it's significant for you all, with an inflow of abundance, as well as a new business venture that you may be going on. Maybe the business venture, or a part of the business venture, is that you may have to pick up and move and go do something somewhere else in order to have like better prospects, better, maybe your clients that you have, if this is a business venture for you, maybe your clients live in a different, where most of your clients would be, live in a different area than where you are now. And so with this move, it probably would be better for you to do so you can get so you can get more clients, so you can get more traction for what it is that you're doing. So also with the signing important documents or contracts, you may be doing that as well. Sign a new lease, renewing a lease, a mortgage. Maybe you're, signing papers for that. This could also, I am picking up for maybe some of you. It doesn't have to be for all of you, of course, but maybe, you're going through divorce proceedings, and, there's papers that need to be signed, legal things that need to be signed, that needs to be notarized, stuff like that. Whether it is you're getting divorced, or even if you're getting married, you still have to sign different things. especially if you're merging assets or, you know, divvying up assets, however it goes for you, that could be the case. That could be the case for this. Okay, so the second card that you have out is Mamie or Mommy Kumba Bang. Sometimes I always kind of mess up that name, I feel, but I'm doing my best. Oh, and the numbers that you have that are significant are 33 and 7 from what I see here. Let's see. And the only energy as far as signs go that you could be dealing with are earth signs. Let's see. I'm also getting strongly air signs too. I don't know. But specifically earth signs. But your numbers for pile number 1 are 7 and 33. Okay? But let's get back to this card here. So you have number 33, Mama Kumba Bang, and it's called Speak Up. This is what the card looks like. Really beautiful card. I just love it. I love the colors. It's so pretty. I am really, so the hands kind of speaking up, the hands kind of like up in the power symbol, you know, fist power or power symbol. It's typically what, you know, we will do in the Black community. We will, you know, say power, you know, power to us, power to the, you know, power to the people, basically. So this could be something where you are called to like take the lead on something, especially if it's a business venture. You know, maybe you're being called to lead something, to do something, to be the first spokesperson for something. Yeah, maybe you're being called to bring truth, light to something, because nobody else will speak on it. So you're kind of like, you could be in that, what am I trying to say? You could be in the spirit of, okay, since nobody else is going to take initiative, since nobody else is going to say anything, I'm going to say something. So I think that is where you all in this pile are. It's like, since nobody else will take initiative, since nobody else will say it, I'm going to say it because it needs to be said. Something needs to be done. And instead of everybody, like, you know, kind of resting on their laurels and not doing nothing, I'm going to do it. So that's what I'm feeling. Okay, so the next card you have out is Step Out of Your Comfort Zone. This is North Node. It's a lot of purple too. A lot of purples, blues in here, and golds. So I don't know. To me, gold, it just makes me think of, like, you know, royalty, of course, with power. Makes me think of kind of stepping into a leadership role. Like, when I see those colors, it just makes me think of that. The purple and the blue, someone who's highly intuitive, empathetic, a good leader, a leader who leads with integrity. So, you know, those types of colors, everything just kind of corresponds and relates in that way. But anyway, so getting back to this card here, step out of your comfort zone, North Node. So yeah, you know, for some of you, you know, if you are being called to kind of lead or step up, it can be kind of unnerving, especially when you're somebody who, you know, takes initiative, or, you know, kind of when you have to be the person who kind of shows the way forward, or, you know, kind of takes over. Sometimes, you know, there may be that feeling of like, okay, I'm taking over, but you know, what if, you know, it's kind of like a whole bunch of series of what ifs. Like, you know, what if, you know, somebody's not feeling what I am trying to do? What if, I get opposition to the point of where people are not respecting, what it is that I'm trying to do. They're trying to, come up against everything that I'm doing, you know, even if it is, for the betterment or the greater good of whoever, you know what I mean? So it it can be something like that, but at the same time, it's sort of like, you know, while there may be people, who do that. Um, you just kind of have to kind of like say to hell with it, or fuck it. Excuse my language, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it anyway. Do it scared in a way, you know, because there's always gonna be someone, there's always gonna be a person or someone, something, obstacles that come up against you when you're trying to do something, but you still go ahead and you still do it though. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how you have to have. That's kind of how you have to be. You know, it's like no matter what, I know that what I'm doing is right. I know what I'm doing can make a difference, can make a change. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so then we have accepting what it is. Um, and I think that kind of ties into exactly the last little thing that I just said. Like, it is what it is in a way. Is accepting what is. It is what it is. Like, people are gonna be people, no matter what. So you have to move how you feel you should move. If that makes sense. If you know that it's something that um, is gonna make not only your life better but other people's lives better, then yeah, go with your first mind, go with your gut. Okay. So accepting what is, it says, I accept and embrace my inner majesty. And this is what the card looks like. Really pretty. Um, but yeah, that's the message that I get from that. Is just accepting what is. Like, it is what it is. Like, yes, there may be some fear there. You may not know exactly, and you may even have like people already like testing you to see if you're gonna, break under pressure, or you know that type of thing. And it's just kind of like, what, for one, why are you testing me? But at the same time, it's like that's bound to happen because, like I said, people do that type of stuff. You know what I mean? It's bound to happen. Okay, so your last card that came out is move, and this looks like and it looks like hand fasting, like people kind of consummating their or I don't know if consummate is a word, but there's something different. um, Basically like taking vows or whatever. And usually I think this is typically like things that Wiccans do. Like they'll do like the hand fasting or I think it's called hand fasting or whatever. But it's like a marriage ceremony or whatever. But anyway, but I don't necessarily get that per se, but it can be because yeah, like if you're signing documents or contracts, if you're someone who um, um, is newly married, then this could be like nuptials or whatever, getting together, coming together, pulling resources together, signing the marriage documents, that type of thing. So, but either way, I do think my power ones, with the literal word move, you all could, moving is significant for you. If you have not moved already, you're getting ready to, you know, pile number ones, or this could be something that hasn't even happened yet. Like I mentioned before, like this could be something where this is, you're kind of mulling over it and trying to see, you know, maybe you're researching where you want to move. You are trying to see, especially if you have a new business venture, maybe you're doing research to see um, if a move is possible, number one, but also where to move, where you might have the most clients, where you might get the most traction, um, you know, where, where you would have the most, work-life balance. Where would your, family be, best served, um, or thrive the most, in what place. So it could be something to that effect. Okay. And so your affirmation for this pile is I am healthy. I am healthy. And I know my handwriting is kind of whack, but don't come for me. Don't come for me for my handwriting. But anyway, so I am healthy. And I just feel like even with, like all this other stuff, my pal number ones, you all, not only is, will I get, clients, will I get this, that, and the third, there's a lot of factors going into, all of this. How would a move make my life better? Or if you have a family, how would that, this move make our lives better? Especially if, whatever the case. um, but there's, there's a need to come out of your comfort zone, to speak up, um, to kind of go. It's almost like when I also see this accepting what is, it kind of makes me think of going with the flow too. Um, maybe there could be a need for you all to kind of not necessarily let go of everything, but give yourself some grace as well as some ease, to ease into things, accept how things are, but also know that if you do want to change things, you can. You have options. So, I'm kind of picking that up too with this card. But no matter what, you're trying to see what's the most healthiest move for you. So I would say, if you are kind of still in the like planning stages, trying to figure things out, give yourself some grace, but also take your time with deciding. Like you don't even have to it's one of those things where you don't have to decide right away. You know what I mean? Um, give yourself some time to really figure things out and then make a move. Okay? All right. So, pile number one, that was your reading. Hopefully, it resonated. Uh, and yeah, I will um, be back again. um, yeah. Maybe tomorrow, because especially since we are well into August and I am super late when it comes to my monthly readings that I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, I'm getting on myself for that, but my stuff was packed up for a while. So yeah, I'm kind of slowly unpacking things and putting things away. So yeah, so don't come too much for me. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that reading. Pile number one, and we're going to go ahead and go to pile number two. That is, if I can get the cards up here. Okay. There we go. Let's switch you over here. All right. Pile number dos. For those that don't know what dos is, that is two in Spanish. No, I don't. I used to know Spanish a little bit in high school, but I actually need to learn again because yeah, your girl, I can't hold a whole conversation in Spanish, so definitely need to learn more when it comes to that. All right, pile number two. This is your reading if you chose pile number two. Let me look at the cards here for a second, kind of see what we got going on here. I almost have a similar message to pile number one, so if you were drawn to pile number one, then definitely go check it out. It's slightly different though. So pile number 2. Okay, so let's see what your numbers are, and any signs that you might be dealing with. All right, so okay, yeah. So your numbers are 15, 32, and 5. 3. Okay, so you have, all right, you have a lot of 5s for one, because 3 plus 2, you have 32, but 3 plus 2 is 5. You have 5 here, you have 15, so 5, 5, 5. 6 also, 1 plus 5 is 6, of course. But yeah, okay, so a lot of 5s, 6s, and 3s. So those numbers could be significant for you all. The card that is coming out that has a sign for it is Libra. So you could be dealing with Libras or air signs. Also, because you have the throat chakra card out here, so it makes me think of communication. So maybe you could be dealing with a Gemini as well, also an air sign. So air signs could be significant for you all in this pal. Okay, trying to think of, see if I get anybody else. Okay, I'm not really getting anyone else. Any other signs. Well, let's see. I do see like a ram here, so could maybe Aries is possible. Yeah, could be dealing with Aries as well. I don't know. But I always look at the symbols of things. The like the actual name of the sign didn't have to be there in the cards. You can just kind of look at symbology and just see what's there, what's not. Okay, but anyway, so you have your numbers and you have your signs. So let's go ahead and get into the cards. Okay, so you have number 15, and this is ego. This is Archangel Jophiel. And it says a false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things, negative or fear-based thoughts. Okay, that's the card there. Let's pull it up to the camera a bit. You can see. Right off the bat, this person kind of makes me think of someone that's kind of like, almost like in a stance of like waiting for the other shoe to drop, or the, for some boogeyman to come out, because like, what they say, like, I got my hand on my hip, let anybody try me. Like they got that thing on them, you know what I mean? It's kind of something like that. Like, so, and I hate to laugh because it's funny, but it's really not. But it's one of those things where I'm kind of like, there could be a reason or some situation that's making you feel as though, and sorry for the background noise, but it could be making you feel like, it could make you feel like what's going on outside. Like it could be making you feel like you have to be kind of like on alert in a way, a false sense of entrapment, or like a false sense of sort of like, hold on one second. Okay, back again. That was so weird. Anyway, so basically with this card, ego, pile number 2, I feel like it could be making, like, the way that this person is standing, it's like I'm ready for whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm ready, if anybody want to run up, they can get done up, basically. So, there could be this false sense of, feeling like you have to be on edge, or you have to be like on point, in case somebody try you. And so, it could be a very like valid feeling, I will say. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you don't want to allow that. You don't want to be delusional either. So it's like, always, be hyper vigilant, you know, check your surroundings, like be on point with that. But at the same time, sometimes people can kind of overdo it. You know what I'm saying? The slightest, you know, pushback from anyone else, it could, make a person kind of defensive in a way. So I would say try to stray away from that a little bit, but also don't, any like negative or like fears, sometimes those things can kind of be not, they can be not true. It can be kind of um, like a projection, or like a feeling of not really knowing, but you're also kind of like, dang, what if? It's kind of like the what ifs, the what if, what ifs type thing. And somebody is still blowing outside. And like, you know, if they haven't come out yet, then that means they're not gonna be out there. You know what I mean? Anyway, so hopefully whoever they are coming after, they will find them. My God, today. Anyway, y'all, I swear. Anyway, um, I'm just trying to see if I see or feel anything else with this card that I forgot to mention. I don't really get anything else from this particular card. But like I said, like if there's something that makes you feel like you have to be on edge, or something that makes you feel like you have to, you have these negative thoughts or feelings. Sometimes when you have those types of negative, and I've said this before in my readings, like the negative thoughts, um, fear, when your focus is solely on that, it can kind of bring, like, it may not even be a threat. It may not be anything like that. But you can attract that. You can, manifest that type of energy in your life when you're solely focused on it. So when you take a moment and stop focusing on that, then you get a better result, if that makes sense. Okay, so we have number 32. The second card out is Mama de Jumbo, and this is Shine. That's what the card looks like. A really pretty card. Anyway, so with this card here, um, as well as some of the other cards that you have kind of coming out here, with Shine, I feel like there's going to be, for some of you, it could be like an opportunity or some kind of situation where you may need to be in the spotlight in a way. You may be put on Front Street. And it could be a situation where you do have to defend yourself or defend your claims. Um, um, with the throat chakra out here, you may have to speak up about something. That's one of the cards that pile number one got. So yeah, it's like lights, camera, action type deal. Like, it may be your time to shine, your time to be seen, be heard, um, and you may need to speak up. Speak up for whatever reason. Okay, so your next card out is a win-win outcome is forecast. Um, and this is full moon in Libra. And this is what the card looks like. Matches my nails. It's a pretty color. I love that too. So a win-win outcome is forecast. So yeah, when you step into, you know, that energy, when you step into, or that shine energy, like, yeah, I'm going to kind of speak up, say what's on my mind, da 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 da, that type of thing. Um, you're gonna have a win-win outcome. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. Don't be afraid to, you know, even if what you have to say could, possibly be challenging, or you know, rub a person the wrong way, still do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to um, speak your mind, because, you know, either way, even if you do have, like, you know, people that may come against you for what you have to say, you still need to say it, because it could be helping what you say, your bravery, it could be helping someone else. You know what I'm saying? So try to keep that in mind. Um, no matter what, the situation will be, it will be a fair, like, outcome. You know what I mean? It'll be a just outcome with the scales here in Libra. So yeah. Okay, so the next card you have is Breaking Barriers. And this is, I'm expanding beyond limitations into joy and freedom. Also matches my nails. That's what the card looks like. But right away, like, what I'm paying attention to is, like, the like the branches here, the flower or the leaves kind of sprouting out. Things like taking I don't know, this makes me think of, like, roots too, like the branches, all the things, even though they're branches, but like roots, things taking root, things coming to fruition, kind of breaking through barriers, basically breaking barriers. So yeah, you're literally breaking through things that are, like, tried to keep you, you know, held, tried to keep you, you know, hold you back. Also, this is a tree too, so, you know, very much about, you know, growth, being sturdy like a tree, not letting anything knock you off your square, you know, that type of deal. You know what I'm saying? Also, this also, both of these cards sort of make me feel, um, makes me think of, like, balance, things being balanced, you know? Um, so yeah, I think when you, my pal number two, when you all step into this kind of brave, sort of courageous type energy, you know, and not be afraid to, you know, shine, be in the spotlight, speak your mind, that type of thing. Um, like, it'll change your whole, like, your whole outcome. Like, even, like, no matter what these negative or, like, sort of like fear based um, thoughts some of you may have, it'll all that'll be eliminated, because it's like you kind of overcome your fear of that. So now you can now it's kind of like easy or smoother sailing from that, and you don't necessarily have to be kind of like in this energy where you're, like, you know what I'm saying, kind of defensive and, like, you know, like, kind of waiting for anything. You know, you feel like you got to be, like, on edge or something. So yeah, you don't have to do that. All right, and so the last card you have here is Throat Chakra. And again, it's very self-explanatory there. It's just, don't be afraid to shine. Like this card says up here, don't be afraid to speak your mind. You know, no matter even if it is, like, controversial, or, you know, there's a way to say things and not be rude about it, of course, you know, or mean. You know, there's a way to do things and say things in a professional way, but still be direct, and, you know, you don't have to take no ish either. You know what I'm saying? You can be all of that, and, you know, not be rude, not be mean. You know what I mean? So think of it that way, but don't. So, you know, don't be afraid to speak your mind. But by speaking your mind, you break those barriers, right? You do things that a lot of people, sometimes people are afraid to do, which is not be liked. You know, some people, I think a lot of people are afraid to not be liked. And sometimes, you know, simply speaking your mind, it may make people not like you. Um, they may have a problem with people who are, especially women. Like, when women speak their mind, people get all up in their feelings for some reason. You know, they don't want women to speak. They want women to be docile and meek and mild and all this other stupid stuff. So, yeah, they can't handle it. Some people cannot handle it. So, But whatever, we don't care. Okay, so your affirmation pile number 2 is don't quit. Don't quit. So yeah, don't quit. Don't let nobody knock you off your square. Speak your mind. Don't be afraid to do it. You know what I'm saying? Some people are gonna like it, some people are not. But that's a them problem, right? If they don't like you speaking your mind, especially for something that, you know, especially if it's the right thing to be speaking about, to speaking up on, then that's a them problem, and they don't have nothing to do with you. So live your life, do you, and don't give a f what other people have to say about it. Okay. So pile number 2, that was your reading. Hopefully it resonated. If it did, leave me give me a like. Put a comment down in the comment section. Share the video out. Subscribe, to all the things. And I will see you next time. Bye. And we're going to pile number 3. A little irritation. All right. Get these cards out. Pile number 3. That's funny. I'm laughing because I mentioned pile number 2 got the throat chakra card. You all have the base chakra card. So right off the bat, you all, this is very, you got fire energy. So I'm seeing a lot of red. So definitely fire sign. This is my fire signs, but we also have a Gemini card down here, a communication card. So, so you all, you could have been drawn to pile number 2. So if you were, definitely go check out pile number 2 as well. There may be messages in there for you. Okay. So yeah. And here we go again with the dang beeping outside. It ain't like y'all, like nobody's car has been beeping all day. But as soon as I turn on the camera to do a reading for y'all, here come the beeping, here come the sounds. Like, really, y'all? Anyway, but we're gonna get into it. We're gonna ignore it. Okay, so the first card you all have, well, first, your numbers that are significant as well as signs. Like I said, this could be my fire sign pal, like I'm talking to fire signs, or you could have it in your chart, or you could be dealing with fire signs, okay? Also, you have Gemini down here, so you could be dealing with a Gemini or air signs. Your numbers are 7, 44, and 1. Okay, again, that was 7, 44, and 1. Okay, so the first card that you have out is 7 of Fire, pile number 3. And this is defend your beliefs and decisions, stand your ground, choose your battles wisely. Okay, so again, this card, this is, I really feel strongly that pile number 3 was, some of you may have been attracted to pile number 2, so you may want to definitely go check that out. Yeah. But anyway, whereas pile number 2, they seem to be kind of defensive, and kind of like feeling as though they needed to defend themselves, but it was kind of fear-based and negative thought-based. But with this card, though, I'm getting more so that it is that, like, this pal may need to defend themselves for real. Like there may be some kind of situation that you all are in now, or it could be coming up, where you do have to, stand your ground on something. You do have to defend yourself. Um, you know, there could be some things that you're wanting to do that, people are trying to speak fear into. Um, and it's kind of like, yeah, don't speak fear into my plans. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't, tell me that something bad is going to happen, you know, just because I'm doing something that may be risky, or, it may be so far out of the box, or, whatever the case. Because I know a lot of people, they refuse to think outside of their box they place themselves in. They refuse to dream bigger, to think bigger. So, whenever they see someone doing that, it can make them feel like, oh no, don't do that. But at the same time, it's like, no, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And, if I don't succeed, then hell, I try again. But if I do succeed, at least, you know, you see I tried and I succeeded, or I didn't, at least I tried. You know what I mean? So whatever the case may be for you all are needing to, and honestly, defend your beliefs, decisions. Truthfully be told, I feel like I'm the type of person, like, once I've made up my mind, once I've said the thing, or said that I'm going to do something, or um, I don't feel as though I need to defend myself to another person, right? Like, my decision is final. You know what I mean? Like, unless this person, like, okay, for instance, if you're, married, or, maybe with kids or something like that, you may have to kind of explain, or, you know, defend yourself in that way, where you're trying to, make somebody understand why this makes sense, or why the way that you're moving the way that you're moving because of this, so we can have this. You know what I mean? So that is understandable, but anybody outside of the, you know, your familiar relationships, romantic relationships, I don't see why you would have to defend yourself, or defend your decisions to anyone else, because they ain't paying your bills. They're not giving you no money. They're not doing any of those things. So you know anyone else that's not doing that, or that's that anybody that doesn't matter for you in that situation, don't defend yourself. Don't even waste your breath or time or energy on explaining something to someone who, like, their opinion doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? So there, it could be a case, and that's what I'm kind of picking up. Like, it could be a case of someone, like, outside of you, or outside of your circle, is probably trying to come in, and they see what you're trying to do, and they're sitting up there trying to, like, you know trying to, like, spark fear in you, or spark fear in your plans, because some kind of way they may have found out what it is that you're trying to do. um, Especially if this is like a work colleague or something like that. Like, whatever. Like, it's half of the time why you don't talk about your plans to other people, because it'll literally be something like that. Like, folks will be trying to talk you out of stuff, and it's just kind of like, because they fear that they can't do it. So if they feel like they can't do it, then nobody else can. Like, miss me with that. I can't stand that, when people will do stuff like that. Like, it's so irritating. Anyway, so let's move on. The second card that you have come out is 44. This is Asset, Surrender. Let me just kind of cover it a bit. But you have this card, Surrender, and it's of a lady, or it says Iset, Iset, but it's usually spelled Aset, Aset, or Isis. But yeah. Anyway, so she's sitting there. She's kind of yeah, I'm not going to say what's going on in the card. But anyway, but you can look this card deck up and look at it for yourself. Um, but yeah, so with surrender, with this card, honestly, I feel as though and you literally, like, you have this card down here, being in the flow. I feel like it's kind of one of those things of like kind of going with the flow, just kind of being at ease, allowing yourself to kind of relax. And that's kind of, I go back to like here with the Seven of Fire. It's just kind of like, if it's somebody outside of your, like I said, it's somebody outside of your circle, they don't matter. You know what I mean? You don't have to tell, for one, you don't have to tell nobody nothing. You know what I mean? Unless, they are someone who, you know, is in a relationship with you, in some kind of relationship, whether it be platonic, romantic, whatever, and it impacts them too, your decision impacts them too, then don't worry about them. Just go with the flow, surrender to, what is. But no, like, do what's best for you. You know what I mean? Do what's best for you in this situation. Like, don't worry about what naysayers have to say. You know what I'm saying? Even then, even with it, when it's family too, sometimes you kind of have to like side eye family, because they can also, sometimes speak fear into your dreams too. And when it comes to family, we oftentimes we value what our family has to say, because 9 times out of 10, even if they are kind of speaking negatively to you about certain things that you want to do, or speaking fear into it, they mean well, but at the same time, it's kind of like you have to be like, yeah, I'm still going to do this though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that you have my best interest at heart sometimes, because sometimes family, sometimes I may not have your best interest at heart. It's just some family is like that. So, you just kind of have to, unfortunately, you have to kind of gauge, what it is, the place that they're coming from, stuff like that. So at the same time, it's just kind of like surrender, like find ways to kind of like go around certain things, find ways to not let people's naysaying and speaking negatively to you get in the way of what it is that you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So the next card you have is communication is key, and this is New Moon in Gemini. Okay. So with this card, communication is key. Yeah, I feel like, if there is someone who's kind of, doing that to you, especially if this is someone whose opinion you do value, you do take into consideration what they have to say, maybe maybe a conversation can happen, and you can be like, I noticed that, you have this, and this to say to me about what it is I'm trying to do. I appreciate you, but at the same time, again, I'm still going to do what I want to do. Excuse me. You don't need to worry about me. Oh, sorry, y'all. You don't have to worry about me in that situation. I'm fine. Like, I've dotted out my I's, I've crossed out my T's. So now I've researched things, before I make a move. So there's no need to, be worried about what it is that I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I've done the research. I've, figured out all the things that possibly could go wrong, or, you know what I'm saying? Like the pros and cons of things. So there's no need to worry. So it like literally, it could just be a situation where, a conversation just needs to be had, and then things are on the up and up from there. All right, so then we have being in the flow, and it says, I am in the flow of the universe. Again, it makes me think of, it may have been pile number 2, but pile number 1 and 2, they kind of had similar messages, so you could even have been drawn to pile number 1 as well too. So like I said, whatever you feel drawn to, just check it out. You know what I'm saying? Check it out if you want. Um, but yeah, um, being in the flow, like, just, if you, and this person is like traveling by sailboat, so like you kind of like pile number one, you could be making a move to do something, to go somewhere. So um like I said, kind of like pile number, yeah, kind of like pile number one, you could be like on the moving as well. Seriously, like whenever I see any type of like mode of transportation in cards, it just makes me think of like moving, traveling. um you know I like, yeah, you could be like defending, traveling somewhere. Especially if you're trying to do this solo. People will people even try to talk you out of traveling solo, of all the freaking things. you know so whatever the case, especially, yeah, this person is solo. There's nobody else is in the like little sailboat with her. So yeah, um seriously, um if there's something that you have to go at something alone, don't hesitate to do it. Go ahead and do it. But just like I said, just sometimes you may have to kind of like let people know, like, hey, I understand your concern, but I'm good, yeah, I'm Gucci. Okay. So then we have the card base, number one, base chakra. Okay. So like base chakra, this is like your root chakra. Um, and this is like the base of the spine. So this is all about like your foundation. Excuse me. This is all about like your foundation, your safety, security, fears. All of that is rooted there, or in there. And so there could be a lot of, especially if you are moving, or you are doing something that could upend your entire life. A lot of security, safety, those types of things could be what's on your mind right now. So, if that is the case, then, take, like I said, take all your, do your research for one, have your conversations, but at the same time, just step into the flow though. Go with the flow. Don't try to, get overwhelmed, because things may, you may be trying to figure things out, and people may be getting on your nerves as far as like trying to talk you out of certain things because they're afraid of what could happen. It's a lot of what ifs, but when you do your research, you study the areas, you are, you know, privy to what it is that you should do and should not do in certain situations, you're good. Okay? So don't let nobody talk you out of your plans. Seriously. Okay. So the affirmation that you have, pile number 3, is I am always evolving. I am always evolving. So yeah, this life is meant to be lived in the way of we're always learning. That's how I try to approach living. That's how I try to approach it. All things is like every experience is one of those things where you learn from it, right? Like that's the whole, to me, that's the whole premise of this. That's the whole reason behind all this. Is just, we're out here literally learning and experiencing life. So, always evolving. You're always getting bigger and better. So hopefully that resonated, pile number 3. If it did, give me a like. I would really appreciate that. Leave a comment in the comment section. You can let me know how the video resonated, or you can leave a cute emoji down there. Share the video out with those who like tarot or card readings as well. Subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time. Bye.